Picture this: a life where your happiness isn't at the mercy of external circumstances or people. A life where you hold the key to your own experiences, where you become the true master of your emotions, regardless of the ever-changing world around you. It's a life where you understand truly and deeply that joy doesn't exist in the world, it exists in us, as Ben Franklin wisely said. This isn't a dream, it's a reality within your reach. In this video, we're going to discuss the concept that it's not the circumstances, but you who define your experiences. Let's start by acknowledging a fundamental truth: the circumstances of our lives, especially when they seem stressful or intense, do indeed have an impact on us. It's impossible to deny that external factors play a role in shaping our experiences. However, what we often forget is that our reactions to these circumstances, our emotional responses, are ultimately within our control. Think about the last time something significant happened in your life. Maybe you landed a dream job, or perhaps you faced a challenging personal setback. Initially, you probably experienced a surge of emotion, whether it was excitement or disappointment. But here's the kicker: those feelings, those reactions are much more about you and what's going on within you than they are about the external event itself. It's not the circumstance, it's you. Our lives are filled with instances where we willingly surrender our power to external circumstances and situations. It's as if we've convinced ourselves that we are at the mercy of the world around us. We act as though it's a given that we'll feel a certain way based on specific conditions: the state of the economy, the unpredictable weather, our health, activity levels, the state of our relationships, our children's behavior, our careers, and even our work environment. It's not uncommon to find ourselves thinking, if only this issue would disappear, or if I could change that specific situation, then I'd be happy, peaceful, or relaxed. We've all been there, yearning for that elusive external fix that will magically make everything better. But here's a reality check. Author and spiritual teacher Byron Katie tells us, the definition of insanity is thinking that you need something you don't have. The mere fact that you exist right now without that which you think you need is proof that you don't need it. So what if we decided to live our lives with an awareness of the fact that we have the power to create our experience of life at any moment? What if we stopped blaming our feelings on other people or external circumstances? How would our lives, careers, and relationships transform if we took full ownership of our experiences? Taking control of our lives by embracing personal responsibility isn't a one-step process. It's a journey. It starts with an honest look inward. Mike Robbins encourages us to admit when we're playing the victim, when we're giving away our power. It's like shining a light into the corners of your life where you find the most pain, suffering, and struggle right now. Can you identify those areas where you're acting as though life is merely happening to you, and you have no say in it? The more specific and honest you can be about this, the more freedom it offers. It's not about self-blame. It's about self-awareness. When you pinpoint these areas, you're taking the first step toward reclaiming your power. Now, let's talk about something that many of us find challenging: acknowledging, owning, and expressing our emotions. It's often when we fall into victimhood that we avoid dealing with our feelings, those emotions we'd rather not face. It's like sweeping dust under the rug. It's out of sight, but it's still there, affecting us. Here's an interesting fact. Research shows that simply naming your emotions can reduce their impact on you. It's like a magic spell. When you acknowledge, I'm feeling angry, or I'm experiencing sadness, you've just taken a step toward disarming that emotion's power over you. By dealing directly with the emotions you're avoiding, you're going to the source of the issue and addressing it at its root. Surprisingly, once you can acknowledge, own, and express these emotions genuinely, much of the suffering and struggle often dissipates. It's as though you've faced the dragon and found that it's not as terrifying as you thought. Embracing personal responsibility means making a solemn commitment to yourself and those close to you. Declare that you're willing to take 100% responsibility for your experience of life. This doesn't mean that life won't happen, because it will. What it means, however, is that you commit to living your life by design, not by default. It's a conscious choice to be the author of your own story. Now let's be real for a moment. You're likely to forget, slip up, and fall back into victimhood from time to time, or maybe quite often. That's perfectly okay. It's part of being human. but making a commitment to yourself and sharing it with others while asking them to hold you accountable with kindness and honesty can create an environment, both within and around you, that supports your journey toward living your life with power and responsibility. This shift from blaming circumstances to embracing personal responsibility is not a walk in the park. It's more like a mountain climb, with steep ascents and occasional slips. Most of us have been conditioned to live in what we might call victim consciousness. It's a groove in our minds that we've worn deep over the years, even though it doesn't lead to the outcomes we truly desire. But here's the thing. When we're willing to be honest with ourselves, express our genuine emotions, and make a commitment to live as designers of our experience, we can genuinely change our lives in miraculous ways. This is where the magic happens. In our quest to understand personal responsibility, we can't overlook the insights offered by Byron Katie, a spiritual teacher and author. She takes us further down the rabbit hole, challenging our societal conditioning and the relentless pursuit of external goals. Katie's statement, "The definition of insanity is thinking that you need something you don't have," forces us to reevaluate our beliefs. It urges us to question the never-ending chase for external validation, possessions, or circumstances as the ultimate sources of our happiness. Instead, she reminds us that our very existence, right here and now, is proof that we don't need anything external to be content. Katie's wisdom leads us to a realization. Happiness and contentment are not commodities we obtain, but states of being we cultivate from within. This perspective frees us from the chains of craving external validation or acquisitions. Consider this psychological fact. Numerous studies in positive psychology suggest that once our basic needs are met, the pursuit of more material possessions has diminishing returns on our happiness. It's like chasing a mirage. The closer you get, the further it seems. The more you accumulate, the less satisfied you become. This is the paradox of our consumer-driven society. But when we embrace the notion that joy exists within us, regardless of external circumstances, we open the door to contentment. It's a contentment that isn't easily shaken by life's ups and downs. It's contentment that comes from recognizing our worth and the potential for joy that resides within us. Embracing personal responsibility is not just an empowering choice. It's a life-changing one. It's about taking the reins of your life and understanding that your reactions and emotions are yours to shape. This transformation begins with self-awareness, that courageous act of identifying where you're surrendering your power and falling into victimhood. It's like switching on a light in the dark corners of your life. When you pinpoint those areas, you've taken the first step toward liberation. So leave here today remembering that in life, it's not the circumstances that dictate your experiences. It's you. Personal responsibility is being the author of your own life story. You're not just watching life happen, you're shaping it the way you want. But you must also acknowledge that it's not a linear path, and setbacks are part of the process. Therefore, have some self-compassion. Embrace your power, take charge of your emotions, and live a life that radiates with the joy that exists within you. You are the master of your destiny, and your journey toward personal responsibility begins when you decide that it is time.